This week on Supercars Torque, it's time to look at the top 5 drivers from everybody's favourite Ford team, Stone Brothers Racing. With another large break in the calendar and not a heap of news happening before we look at our Enduro previews, I thought it was a good time to do another top 5 drivers, this time from Stone Brothers Racing. This one was suggested by Mr. TBA and V. Lockley. Hopefully I pronounced that one right. Anyway, Stone Brothers is the subject of this one. The team was started properly in 1998 and ran through to 2012. This was a team that has been bought out by Betty Clemenco, which is now Erebus Motorsport, although it is very different these days to when it was run by the Stones. Anyway, the Stones were working for DJR back in the old days. They moved across to Alan Jones's new team in 1996. AJ and each of the Stone brothers were third part owners in the team, so they all had an equal sharing in the team, the three of them. Then Alan sold out to them at the end of the 1997 season. So 1998, it became their own team. They started off as a single car team for Jason Bright, ran a customer car for Mark Larkham that year as well. When Mark Larkham set up his own shop in 2000, they expanded to a proper 2-car team. Over the years, they have run a third entry for Team Kiwi Racing and then James Rosenberg. Then obviously that's where Betty bought out the team and they continued on with that 3-car model at the start. There was very early success when they won Bathurst at their first attempt, but they never achieved that once again at Bathurst. The results were few and far between for them over the years. They did have a purple patch though where they won 3 championships in a row between 2003 and 2005. They didn't quite get another championship over the years, but in their final year they were the best of the rest in a season that saw Triple Eight and Tickford win every race. The Stone brothers finished 5th, 6th and 8th in the championship, really proving that, they were the third best team that year. Over the years, they had many different drivers drive for them. Some very big names in the sport that have not made this list. Some of them, their times with the team were very short, but as you see, Lee Holdsworth, Tony Longhurst, Alex Davison, Craig Baird, David Bernard, Mark Larkham, Wayne Gardner and Scott McLaughlin were all part of the team at one stage that have not made this list. The notable exceptions that didn't quite make the top 5 but were very close, Mark Winterbottom, he was there for his Super 2 championship campaign. He took 8 wins from 16 starts and another 3 podiums. He won the championship that year but then moved over to Mark Larkham Motorsport when he made his main game debut. And the other one to just miss out on this list, Tim Slade. Although he didn't have a win with the team, he did score 6 podiums in that satellite car over the 3 seasons. He was racing the James Rosenberg car, but really everyone classified that as a Stone Brothers car. It was his consistency in year 3 that really made him stand out. He finished 5th in the championship in that 2012 year, where it was only Triple Eight and Tickford taking all the wins. So he was the best non-Triple Eight Tickford driver in that year. Very, very impressive considering his teammate was Shane VanGisbergen that year. Now for the countdown proper, kicking it off in 5th place, we have James Courtney. Coming into the team, expecting to take off where Marcus Ambrose left. He kicked his career at Stone Brothers off with 2 huge shunts in Adelaide, and it took a long time for his season to get back on track. He did end up with 4 podiums that year, but it was only 11th in the championship, a long way from the 1-2 in the championship that Stone Brothers were the previous year. 2007 was a better year, 7 podiums, no wins, ninth in the championship. 2008, this is where it all started to click for him. James got his first win there at Queensland Raceway. A further 7 podiums, which included third at Bathurst, which was that's only the second time that Stone Brothers finished on the podium at Bathurst, other than their win back in 1998. That put him 6th place in the championship, but then he moved on to Dick Johnson Racing for the next year. Coming in 4th, we have Shane VanGisbergen, who made his debut with the team partway through 2007 in that Team Kiwi entry. A best result of 12th position at Surface Paradise. 2008, he then stepped into the main team, into that number 9, where he stayed for 5 seasons. Racked up 2 wins and 17 other podiums over that time, with results of 15th, 12th, 6th, 4th and 6th in the championship. Quite consistent over those final years there. Just, not enough to really crack on for a championship. His best result at Bathurst was only a 6th in 2011, which surprisingly as well, beaten by his teammate in the championship in 2012. It definitely, that one wasn't helped. He had 3 retirements in the last 4 races. Shane had his retirement from the sport at the end of the year when it became known that Betty Klemenko was taking over the team for 2013, which ultimately saw him move on to Techno only a couple of months after that retirement announcement. Number 3 on this list is Russell Ingll. After spending 7 years with Perkins Engineering and finishing 2nd in the championship 3 times, Russ decided he needed to go somewhere where he could actually take out the championship that he dreamed of. A 7th in their first season together wasn't quite what he was after, especially when his teammate was off winning the championship that year. But in year 2, it ended up being a 1-2 in the championship, and then finally in 2005 Russ got that championship that he always wanted. In 2006 he dropped down to 8th in the championship, and his final year was another downer in 11th. During his time at the Stones, he had 6 wins and a further 15 podiums. I was expecting a lot more than when I went through the figures, and I thought, geez, he really didn't win that many. He won a lot more while he was at Perkins, but overall at the Stone Brothers, the consistency was there, and that's what got him the better results overall. My main memory of Russ's whole time with the Stone Brothers was in this car at Phillip Island doing that burnout where he's hanging out of the car, and I've got a great photo, I'll try and put it in here at some point, with his face and the smoke and everything. That was definitely a highlight, finally getting to see him take that championship win. In the number 2 spot is Jason Bright. He debuted with the team before it was even Stone Brothers Racing. Sandown 1997 with Alan Jones there. Scott Pruitt was supposed to be co-driving with Alan in the Enduros that year, but couldn't make it out to Sandown, and they took the opportunity to give Brighty a run. I recall after I think they finished on the podium at Sandown, and then they even thought about not bringing Scott out for Bathurst. In the end, they had 3 drivers in the car, which I think is probably the last time a competitive car had 3 drivers entered in it. I say competitive because there was probably a couple after that, but yeah, it was definitely strange back in those days to enter 3 cars, especially in one of the kind of main cars in the race. 1998 saw Jace become a full-time driver in the category in the number 4 Pertec car. In his debut season, he ended up 9th in the championship with 3 podiums at Calder and Oran Parks. 1999 saw him move up to 8th in the championship with 11 podiums, and highlighted by that win at Hidden Valley. The results don't seem overly impressive, but he was driving the unloved AU Falcon, which John Bowe was the only other man able to win in that car that year. Jason, however, though, gets his position in this list because of that day for the team, their debut as a proper team at Bathurst in 1998. It was still only a non-championship round back in those days. Jason crashed the car heavily in practice, but they got it back together. They got a little bit of a run in qualifying, got them 15th on the grid, so they were in the race. They went off strategy very early on and teamed with another young gun in Stephen Richards. They just, powered along all day, eventually taking the win, which was Stone Brothers' only win at Bathurst, which that's elevated him over some others in this list because he got that Bathurst win for the team. He really kicked them off. And obviously the guy who's coming up next, he deserves to be number one. Of course, number one, Marcus Ambrose. Started with the team in 2001. Obviously, he did not read the script. Granted, it was a non-championship race at Albert Park, but bang, put the car on pole and announced his entry into the sport. Before the end of the year, he'd also banged the car on pole for his first Bathurst 1000, as well as taking podiums in 8 races. 2002 saw him take 3 wins with the team and go back-to-back in the Sandown at Sandown in the final round. They had the Sandown as the sprint round at the end of the year back then. He got 3rd in the championship that year. 2003, that's where it all clicked. It all came together. BA Falcon, off they went. 9 wins on the way to his championship with a further 9 podiums over that season. 2004, back-to-back, 11 wins, 9 other podiums. Then in 2005, it all fell off the rails. He announced he was moving to NASCAR for 2006. He only finished 3rd in the championship. 5 wins, 7 other podiums, but while Russ was off winning the championship at Phillip Island that year, Marcus went back-to-back on the Sunday and took both wins. The biggest blight on Marcus's time in the category really is that lack of a result at Bathurst. His best result was 4th in 2004. That is definitely not a reflection of his talents. But yeah, first in this list, 2 championships with the team and 2 third places over 5 years with 28 wins for the team, which is by far and ahead of anybody else that's driven for the Stone Brothers. So that's my top 5 Stone Brothers drivers over the years. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you agree with my 5 or would you have chosen a different 5? And what order would you put them on? Also, very open to suggestions of what other teams to do these top 5s on. At the moment, I probably think I'm better off focusing on teams that are not running anymore. I'll give you a little hint. GRM is already on the list and will probably be the next one. I'd love to hear some suggestions, and also check out, there will probably be a link somewhere. I have got a list of the other ones that I have done previously. So yeah, don't suggest HRT, DJR or Perkins, and Tickford is another one that I've done, which the hard thing with a couple of them is that they're still going, so probably will be need to update it someday. Probably when, some guys have some better results with those teams. But anyway, until next time, I'm still Dave and I'll catch you later.